Hello. Okay, I'm gonna do a rhinoplasty Q&A because I was getting a lot of questions and it would have taken me too long to answer to each person. I hate a long intro, so let's just get right into it. I'm using my mom's phone, as you can tell. Very boomer phone case. I just screenshotted everything and then I'm gonna just go through them. So, okay, let's start with the most frequently asked question. Who was my surgeon? Dr. Vladimir Grigoryants. A little backstory: when you get a rhinoplasty consultation, at least in California from my experience, surgeons charge you. Dr. Grigoryants is one of the surgeons that allows you to send in photos and then he'll send you like a quote via email. So I really appreciate when surgeons do that because you're not wasting your time going to their office and then paying a $100 to $500 consultation fee. Yes, $500, non-refundable consultation fee. So I originally wanted to go check out Dr. Ghavami. He's very popular in the nose job world. Dr. Ghavami, so his consultation fee is $500. And if you choose to select him as your surgeon, then that total does go towards your total cost. However, if you don't, you have to take the L, and I was not down to take an L. So I went to Dr. Dhir. His consultation fee was $150, and I was really confident that I was going to select him because I really liked his work. He had a lot of Middle Eastern clientele, so I was like, okay, I think this is going to be my guy. So I was willing to drop $150, expecting that I was going to pick him. He quoted me. First of all, oh my gosh, it was such a pain. So first of all, Dr. Dhir and Ghavami are both in Beverly Hills. My first recommendation is do not go to Beverly Hills because they are going to overcharge, which it's kind of a given, but whatever. I met with him and he charged me $15,500. I asked if there's any negotiation. They offered to remove $500 off the cost if I allowed them access to my photos and allowed them to basically post my before and after photos on their website and on their social media and whatnot. $15,000 though, still too much, so I decided not to do that. Then I did a few email consultations with a few surgeons. I was even looking up in Seattle because my sister lives out there, so I figured I could fly up there and then recover at her house if I needed to. I saved $2,000. That's kind of worth it to me to fly out there and do all of that, but the savings were not that much. I emailed Dr. Grigoryants and I sent in my photos. He emailed me really quickly. He quoted me $10,500, which is still a lot. I tried to negotiate. I got it down to $10,200. That is as low as he went. I went in for a consultation, which he did not charge for. That was my biggest selling point. At first, I was kind of like, why isn't he charging for it? Like everyone else is. It kind of made me feel a little weird. But, I talked to him. I think he shared he does 5 to 7 rhinoplasty surgeries a week. He's very successful. He has a lot of clients. He does not need my business. He's fine. He met with me and he was very straight up. I don't think you need one, but if I were to do one on you, I would do this. This is how much it costs. This is what I'll do. Do you want to do it or not? Pretty much. So I didn't know if I wanted to book him still because I wanted to do some more research, see if I could find a better price. But he was like, just schedule your next appointment with me for next month. And we'll just have it scheduled, and then if you decide you don't want to go with me, then just cancel it. And I was like, okay, which is a great selling tactic on his end because it's already scheduled. I did a little bit more research and I decided he was the best fit for me. I can, talk off in a separate video, or if you want to message me about my experience with him more in depth, I can totally share that. But overall, it was really well. So yeah, that is why I went with Dr. Grigoryants. I do want to say though, when I was looking for surgeons, so this was all pre-COVID. I started looking October 2019 and I had my surgery March 2020, literally right before lockdown, right before the lockdown. Obviously that wasn't planned. I didn't know that was going to happen, but it did work out pretty nicely. I was looking at other countries. I was on WhatsApp messaging a few surgeons in Turkey because Turkey's, oh my gosh, y'all, it is $3,000 in Turkey, which I could pay to fly there and recover and get a hotel and food and pay for Kyle to fly there and take a little vacation. I could do all of that and come back and still pay less than what I paid here. But from the surgeons I was looking at in Turkey, I did find a few that I was interested in. And some of their before and after photos I really loved. And then some of them I didn't. What I noticed from the people that I was looking at, a lot of the noses looked the same across the board. It was all Eurocentric, small, pointy, and a little bit lifted, kind of elf-like. So on some people's face it looked good and some people it didn't, and that is just not what I was looking for. So I didn't exactly find a person I was 100% confident in Turkey, but I was willing to fly out there. And I also was looking in Mexico. And I want to say something because, when I say Mexico or I say any other country, people always get sketched out like that. And I just want you to check your bias, okay? check your bias. America's not the only country that has skilled surgeons. Other countries do too. So just like in America, you need to do your research. There's going to be people who will botch your face and there's people who won't botch your face. The same applies to other countries too. I just wanted to say that because people always got weirded out when I said I was thinking of going to Mexico back when I was thinking of going to Mexico. Reason I didn't, because I could just, like, it was literally, if I went to Tijuana, like, you could literally just drive there. It's not even far. My thing was the surgeons in Mexico that I found, there wasn't enough information online. Like, I need someone with a full-on website, before and after photos. Like, I need people who post reviews, and I wasn't getting like enough meat, which, you know, it actually worked out in the end because, like I said, COVID happened right after my surgery, and had I been in another country, I would have been recovering and I would have been stuck there. So it all works out, and I ended up paying a lot more in California than I would in another country, basically for the peace of mind that my surgeon is only 40 minutes from my house and he's accessible to me and he speaks the language that I speak, so that way if I have any concerns or questions or I have any follow-up, I could easily access my surgeon. So that's kind of my thought process. I thought about this for over the course of 5 months, but I've wanted this surgery forever. So that is that. That was really long-winded. Let me move on. The rest of them should be pretty quick. How long was recovery? Y'all, okay, you know when you're on YouTube, I mean, if you looked up rhinoplasty vlogs, people when they get their cast off, like, they're a little bit swollen, but they look pretty good. Like, when I got my cast off, I looked busted. Dr. Grigoryants did say, like, when you get your cast off, you're gonna look like an avatar. Because your whole middle of your face is going to be very thick and swollen and like puffy, and not to think that that's how you're going to look, like it will go down. And I was like, yeah, whatever. But when I see all these people getting their cast off on YouTube, they're a little puffy, but it doesn't look like, it looks good. You can kind of see what they look like. Not for me. I looked like an avatar for probably over a month. I looked busted. And that's why I was so grateful for masks back in March 2020, because I looked so bad and scary. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even recognize myself. I was like, I know he told me it's gonna go down, but like, I look so weird. So I would say, like, for me to look normal, it took over a month for me to look normal. I had bruising under my eyes for like 10 days. For it to be fully healed, it actually takes 1 to 2 years. So I just hit my 1-year mark a few days ago. And I will say my nose is still sensitive. It's not 100% when I touch the tip. It feels weird. This part has healed. Like, I used to not be able to put makeup on my nose without it feeling like, you know, someone hit you in the face with a ball, and then afterwards it's like throbbing for a little bit, and then it kind of feels bruised. That's kind of how it feels all the time. That feeling went away for me, but the tip of my nose is still sensitive. It feels kind of weird. I lost like 10 pounds during the recovery of my surgery. I barely ate anything, and it was because I wasn't hungry, because you can't smell. And you could barely eat. I could barely open my mouth. And for the longest time, actually, my top teeth wouldn't show at all when I would talk. It'd be like this. It's not just your nose that gets swollen, it's your whole face. Literally your forehead, your cheeks, your eyes, your nose, your chin. You kind of look like a chipmunk, so it takes time. Some other things too for recovery is that my nose right after surgery was incredibly oily. I would blot my nose and put sunglasses on, and they would just slip down. You're not supposed to wear sunglasses for a month. So even a month after I would wear sunglasses, they would slip down. So I emailed him. He said that that's normal. I don't know. And also, what else happened? Oh, I would just have to blow my nose a lot more than I'm used to. Like, even to this day, I have like a lot more boogers, like TMI, but it's not what I'm used to. I was supposed to have a follow-up appointment with him. I have yet to have that because of COVID. So I need to call and schedule that, because it was supposed to happen last July and I never went. So I'm gonna ask him about the nose blowing situation. Okay, how is the healing process? If I remember correctly, I think it's the first 2 weeks you have to sleep sitting up. So I actually slept on my couch, and honestly, it was a very uncomfortable 2 weeks. Like, I wouldn't say it was like in pain. Like, it hurt, but like it was tolerable. I had to have my gauze removed and swapped out every few hours because blood would be coming out. Kyle did that for me, thankfully. Every time he changed my gauze, I did get lightheaded. Like, my nose was so sensitive, and I couldn't do it myself. Like, he had to do it for me, and then he would put Vaseline on my nose to like lubricate it. So that happened for about 8 days until I got my cast off. But the sleeping situation was really uncomfortable for 2 weeks. Like, I absolutely hated it. And I was terrified to hit myself in the face. I think I hit myself in the face like twice, but not too hard. Like, a blanket would hit my face. And obviously a blanket's not heavy, but it still did hurt. And I was like, ooh. But I will say after that, your nose is sensitive literally for a year, y'all. Like, at least for me. Like, my nose was sensitive for a year. It's still sensitive to this day. It's also the tip of your nose, like the very tip is the last part to heal. That's what my surgeon told me. So like the swelling will go down here and it'll go down here, but the tip of your nose is like the last thing to heal. So maybe that makes sense why it's still sensitive. Did I have trouble breathing before? Yes, I did have a deviated septum before, and I'm not going to sit here and say that that's why I got the surgery, because it's not. I would have just left it. But I did have a deviated septum. I didn't know I had one. I was hopeful that I had one. You could get your rhinoplasty covered by insurance partially, maybe, if you have a deviated septum. However, some surgeons, like even if you do, they still don't accept insurance. So it really just depends on your situation. I couldn't breathe though for a while, like probably after 5 or 6 weeks is when I could finally breathe again. I got breathing in one of my nostrils finally, and then the second nostril followed up shortly after. But for that first 6 weeks, I was like really nervous that I could never breathe again. Like, so dramatic, I know, but I was like, hey, like when is my breathing gonna come back? Like, did he mess up? Financing, how did I finance it? I opened up a credit card specifically for my nose, and it was like 12 months or 14 months interest free, I think. So I put the whole nose on there. My whole nose was just on that card. I paid it off actually really quickly because of COVID. Basically, like I said, I got it in March 2020, and that is when COVID happened, and you know, everyone started getting their refunds for Coachella and cruises and trips they had planned. So basically literally all my refunds, I just put it towards my nose. Because of that, I was able to pay it off very, very fast. But had I not been able to do that, then I would have paid it off over the course, I think I plan to pay it off over the course of 11 months as opposed to 14. Like, I gave myself a 3-month window. So yeah, but it's paid off now, thankfully. Can we get photos of you with 2 fat ass black eyes? Sure. Here's my recovery photos. I looked busted, y'all. I couldn't even open my eyes. I remember my eyes were so swollen. My lashes would hit my eyelids that were swollen that I couldn't open it. Like, it was even uncomfortable to look. Are you Jewish? No. But I am Arab, and Arabs typically have larger noses. How was it going under anesthesia? I've never been under anesthesia before. That was my first time. So naturally, I was very nervous. They're doctors, and like they went to school for many years to be able to give me anesthesia. So I just kept telling myself that like this is their everyday routine. Like, they know what they're doing. But you know, I remember it was so funny. I went in the operating room and I was expecting them to put a mask over my face and have me count down from like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like they do in the movies, and that is not how it was. I remember getting pushed into the operating room. I was like, wow, it's really cold in here. They gave me a blanket, and I just woke up and it was done. Like, I don't even, like, you literally black out. What did Kyle think about the surgery? So he wasn't on board at all. He like didn't want me to do it. He thought it was a waste of money. He thought I was perfect the way I was, you know, things husbands are supposed to tell you. But at the end of it, like, he did support me, and like he took me to my surgery. He took care of me after, but he was not too fond of the idea. For the first like 6 months, he would tell me, I miss your old nose. But now he thinks it looks, he's like used to how I look now. But when he sees old photos of me, he's like, whoa, that's weird. So he didn't want me to do it, but this is something I've always wanted. Why did I want to get one? So I wanted to get a nose job because I just felt like my old nose was not as proportionate to my face as I would prefer it to be. I had a pretty large bump, which I think bumps are cute on noses, but I just felt like mine was a little bit more exaggerated than I would have preferred. And my nose dripped down, especially when I smiled, like it would point down. So I'll put a few photos here if you want to see like my old smile, or if you scroll through my Instagram before March 2020, you could see like, I feel like I look the same, but it's just, I feel like this nose fits my face a little bit more. So my goal was basically not to give myself like a small nose per se, because honestly a small nose on my face would look kind of weird. Like, I feel like I have pretty strong features that a little baby nose, like that's why it was really important that I went to a surgeon that had Middle Eastern clientele, because I wanted myself to like maintain my features and I didn't want to completely change how I look. My goal was really to just shave down the bump, and then when I smile, not have my nose drip so much, so maybe like lift the tip a little bit. When I met with Dr. Grigoryants, he basically said that is, before I even told him what I wanted, he told me what he would recommend, and it was basically what I wanted too. The only thing that really changed from my front view too is that my nose used to be really skinny in the front right here, and then it just dripped down, and now to make it more proportionate, it's like wider. So that kind of like took me time to get used to seeing myself like that. I didn't know how I felt about that at first. I was like, whoa, I look kind of weird from the front. Like, I didn't mind how I looked in the front before. It was more my side I wanted adjusted, but in order for him to adjust the side, he had to adjust the front. So now that it's been a year and I'm like used to seeing myself, I like it, but at first I was kind of like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. How long did you contemplate it? Since I was a kid. I've always wanted one. I always knew I would want one. And you know what's crazy is I always thought like only people who are rich or like really wealthy got cosmetic surgery, but here I am. I'm not wealthy and I got it. So it's definitely more attainable than I thought. And when I started seriously looking into it, I was like, oh, I could do this. I was trying to think of a time you went on a story hiatus to even recover, and I can't think of it. Did you just pre-record your stories? No. Okay. So if you know, I post on my story a lot, but I remember it was during Bachelor, like when I was watching, I forgot what season of The Bachelor it was. Basically, I was doing my Bachelor reviews like I do every week, and instead of recording myself, I just recorded the TV and talked. And then anytime I post a story which had my face in it, I just covered my nose. Like I would take a mirror photo like this. It's not hard to stay consistent posting and just not show your face. I never pre-save stories to post. I'll post what I'm doing, but if I don't want something to show, then I just won't show it. And that's that. I didn't want to show the process as it was happening in real time because I really just didn't want people's opinions. I didn't want to hear it. Oh, another thing too, when I posted this, there's so many people who DM'd me about surgeries they've had. I had no idea. Like I got a boob job, or I got my nose done too, I got this done, I got that done. And I'm just like, oh, I had no idea. I don't know, I just kind of wanted to show that like, this is not natural, you know? I wasn't born with this nose, I paid for it. Something else that I really appreciated about the surgeons, both of them that I met with, Dr. Grigoryants and Dr. Dhir, is that they really ask you questions. Like they kind of do a questionnaire to see why you want to get it done, to make sure it's not for the wrong reasons. I did this for me. This was not for anyone else. Something I wanted for myself, and I feel a lot better with it. I think I looked good before, but I also I think I look better now. So it was worth it in my opinion. I have a lot of people saying that they're thinking of getting it too, or that I inspired them to get one. I didn't want that to be the goal necessarily. And if you've never considered a nose job, I hope you don't start considering one now. We are our worst critics. We are our worst critics. There we go. And a lot of people who are saying that they considered getting one, like I would never touch my nose if I had their nose. Like their nose is perfect to me, or like they have a little bump and I think it's super cute. But of course, like do what you want to do in the end of the day. But I think unless it's going to be a significant change, I wouldn't say it's worth it. Like if you're just trying to do like a very minor change, I wouldn't do it personally. The recovery process is pretty robust, so I wouldn't recommend it unless it's like a pretty significant change than your before. Like if you're just trying to do like a little minor slope, I wouldn't do it. I also got asked if it was an open or closed surgery. I got closed surgery. If you want to see like a full vlog throughout the process, I was on YouTube like a week before my surgery, just like looking at nose job vlogs the whole time. And literally the day before I went and got my surgery, I saw a vlog she has a YouTube channel with her boyfriend. It's Carla and KB. She posted a nose job surgery right before, and I was like, oh, perfect. And I went to look at it, and it was with Dr. Grigoryants. So I was like, perfect. It's with my surgeon. So I went and watched her vlog, and that kind of helped me give it some insight. I would have never known. Yeah, I had a lot of people not notice at all. Of course, when you put the side by sides, it's totally noticeable, but if I never said anything, like I understand why people wouldn't notice. I had Diego come over to take family photos for us. You've probably seen these photos before. And Diego I've known since high school. And I don't see him every day. I just see him maybe like once or twice a year. But you know, he's taking pictures of my face. So I was like, did you notice anything? And he's like, no. And I'm like, I got my nose done. And he's like, really? You know, my first cousins literally didn't notice. My dad didn't notice. But then I have people who I don't even know at all notice just from my Instagram stories. My makeup artist for my wedding noticed, and I've only seen her twice in my life, and I haven't seen her since 2018. So she noticed, which I guess makes sense. Like she was all up in my face putting makeup on, so maybe she remembers the features on my face. I had an acquaintance from college, an acquaintance from high school, have not seen in 8+ years, noticed that I got a rhinoplasty, or they DM'd me like, hey, did you do something different? Which people like tiptoe around the topic when they've asked me. I don't think it's taboo. I know it might be uncomfortable to ask someone. Personally, I really don't care though. Like I'm very open about it, and if someone asks me if I got something done and I've gotten it done, I'm going to say it. But another question I got asked is if I got my lips done too, because if you look at my before and after photos that I posted, my lips do look different. So no, I didn't. In my before photos, my nose drooped down before. I feel like it changed. Like, so I don't know how to explain it, but when my nose drooped down, I feel like my top lip was a little bit inward more than usual. And then when I got my nose done, it like lifts your lip a little bit. so it makes my top lip look a little bit bigger. But number 2, it's really just I had lip liner on in my after photo and lipstick on, and in my before photo I did it. Yeah, no lip fillers. My nose is the only thing I've ever done. I've never gotten like filler or Botox or anything like that. But I wouldn't mind a little fill on my top lip. Oh, just one more thing I do want to add is that your nose is not going to be perfect after. I still think mine is like a little crooked. When I look at it at certain angles, I like really overanalyze it. I'm really happy with the results, but you're not going to get a perfect nose. And also, if you have a very perfect symmetrical nose on an asymmetrical face, it is going to look off. So it can't be perfect at the end of the day. Like, our faces are not symmetrical, they are very asymmetrical. Don't expect it to be like your dream nose, and also just know it does take time to get used to your new nose. My other friend who also got her nose done, her nose looks great in my opinion, and when she first got hers done, she told me like, you know, I feel like I look weird, I look so different. Like, it took her time to get used to it. And it's just, you're seeing your face with a feature that you've seen your whole life completely different. It's gonna take time to get used to it. So even from speaking for myself, like I said, when I first saw that my nose was swollen from the front, I freaked out. And even when it was like more towards the healing phase, I still was not like 100%. Now it's been a year, I like 100% love it, but it takes time to adjust. Even if your nose does look better, it may just not look better to you because you're not used to it. So don't expect to be like 100% satisfied, especially off the bat. It does take time to adjust, and it does take time to heal. Okay, now I think that is all my questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to hit me up, DM me. No, more than happy to share. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.